Hey, Doc Jones here from the Homegrown Herbalist School of Botanical Medicine, and we're going to get going for some spring work with the Comfrey bed. So I'm Doc Jones, and this is my wife, Lori. Lori is also a naturopathic doctor. She's a clinical herbalist, and she's a midwife. She's mostly an astounding gardener. And so we're out here early March, and we're getting ready to get this bed going. And isn't it ugly, right? No, it's not. It looks fantastic. And the reason it looks fantastic is because this is comfrey, and comfrey leaf is one of the most nutrient-dense, phenomenal compost ingredients on the planet. And so all of this stuff is treasure. And so what we're going to do is, this is a perennial plant, right? And we're going to scrape off all this dead material and we're going to throw it in the compost pile. A lot of people, ourselves included, will actually plant comfrey underneath fruit trees and just let it grow and do its thing, and then cut it off and just have sort of a chop and drop combination of fertilizer and ground cover and weed barrier. You know, it's very good for that. You can also use comfrey leaf to make a compost tea. You just take a bunch of this material, or live happy green material, it doesn't matter at all. You take a bunch of comfrey, you throw it in a bucket of water, you wait a couple of weeks till it's really brown and gross and stinky, and then you put that on your plants and they explode. It's a phenomenal fertilizer. You can also make a tea from fresh comfrey leaf and use that tea as a spray, and it has some fungicidal properties for some of the molds and mildews and problems that some plants get. So it's a phenomenal asset in your garden, let alone what an amazing medicine it is. Comfrey's a wonderful, wonderful soothing demulcent. Any mucous membrane in your body that's irritated or grumpy, whether it's your gums or your guts or your lungs or your bladder, doesn't matter. The mucilage, which is the soothing chemical in that plant, will make that feel better, and really, really great for things like that. It's also remarkable for accelerating healing. A little bit of comfrey is like smooth jazz and chocolate for your cells, and they may start making lots of babies. And so if you have a wound to heal, if you have a stomach ulcer, comfrey's a rock star. So let's just look at this. So this is a perennial, right? And if we look underneath all the dead stuff, are we going to see any green yet, huh?
Nope. Nope.
Oh, here's one. Right there's some green guys starting to come up like they mean it.
Yeah. So with this bed, our plan is not even to clean it up. We're just going to leave this this leaf mold that's here, and we're going to let the plants come up, and when they're about this high, we'll go ahead and put some more compost on, and then we get the benefit of last year's leaves and some new freshly charged compost.
Yep. And that's important. You know, you have to recharge the beds every year for two reasons. First of all, they settle a lot, and these beds have settled quite a lot because we just did these last year, and they're hugel beds. And we'll talk about hugel culture and hugel beds in another video, but basically they're full of wood, and then we put dirt on top of them. And so that dirt, as it waters and settles a lot in between all the logs and stuff that are in there. So the first couple of years, they're going to settle a lot. But even if it wasn't a hugel bed, if it was a regular bed, you're still going to get some settling. You're still going to want to add some more material. And principally, that's going to be compost that we've made ourselves.
So when you top dress a perennial plant, you don't want to cover it up too much or you might kill it. They're designed to come up, you know, they'll come up a little ways through a thin layer of compost. But if you wait until the plants are, you know, yay high and then top dress around them, you have the compost will help keep the weeds down around the plants, and you don't have any danger of damaging the plant with top dressing that's too heavy,
Yep.
too thick.
You'll have the benefit of feeding the kids without smothering them, right? And so that's what we're going to do. So anyway, this is Comfrey. The leaf and the root are both medicinal. The root's a little bit stronger.
And we would harvest the root now if we were.
Yeah, this would be a very good time to harvest the roots. Let's talk about roots a little bit. If the root's the medicine on a plant, the highest density of nutrients and medicines and things are going to be either in the fall or in the early spring, right? Because the plant knows he's a perennial. Everything upstairs is dying. I'm putting everything downstairs in the basement, right, for storage. And so early spring is a great time to harvest comfrey. In the fall is a great time to harvest comfrey, or any root. I mean, you certainly can harvest it in May or June or July if you want to, but it's going to be most potent and most beneficial if you're harvesting the root when the plant's thinking about roots, right? If you harvest the root once he's thinking about putting everything upstairs, you're going to have a little bit less concentration of the things you want. So yeah, good point. This is a great time to harvest.
So this bed we put in last year, and we had just pieces of comfrey root, and that's all you need is a little piece of it. And you don't have to have the crown of the plant or anything, just a piece of root. And we planted those, but it's going to be a few years before those roots are big enough to really harvest as medicine. So this bed will just harvest the leaves for a few years, and then when those roots have a chance to get nice and big and meaty, we'll go ahead and harvest the roots. So
Yep.
We're not going to harvest any roots on this bed this year.
Yep, that's right. And the other thing that's really great is, since the root's the medicine, and since the plants do get really big and the roots get really big, I mean, the roots on a comfrey plant will go down a long, long way. And so, you know, here in another year or two, we'll have to thin this out, you know, and we'll want to take a lot of root and thin things out so that there's more room and for things to do what they got to do. I always do say, when you're harvesting comfrey, that you shouldn't take more than every single bit of the plant, or it could take weeks to recover. Okay, so like Lori says, you know, any piece of that root will grow another one. And another really interesting and important point about this particular comfrey is, this is not Symphytum officinale, which is the wild regular comfrey that everybody uses. This is actually a strain called Bocking 14 comfrey. It's a hybrid. They also call it Russian comfrey, okay? But it's a sterile hybrid. It's like if you take a donkey and a horse and play smooth jazz and give them chocolate, they'll make a baby, right? But the baby is sterile. It's a mule. Can't make more mules. Okay, the only way to make a mule is with a horse and a donkey. And it's the same thing with this Bocking 14 comfrey. It'll grow like crazy, and it'll spread slowly through root division, and it'll spread really quickly if you go through it with a rototiller. Bad idea. But it won't spread by seed, all right? And so you can plant this comfrey, and it won't take over your whole place. If you plant regular comfrey, the seeds are like little black ping pong balls, and they'll go bouncing all over the place, and you'll have comfrey coming up everywhere. And unless you spray some horrible toxin on it, you will never be rid of it.
So the flowers are sterile, is what you're saying.
The seeds are sterile. I mean, it makes seeds, but the seeds are no good.
So you don't have to keep, like if you're growing regular comfrey, you would have to every day watch and make sure that you are gathering those flower blossoms.
And that's a great time to harvest regular comfrey leaf, is as soon as it starts to flower, mow it down, you know, and so it doesn't go to seed. But yeah, exactly. Yep. The other way to manage regular comfrey is to put, 6 feet of concrete around it and have it in a very specific place where, and we did that at our other place. We had a little comfrey bed of wild comfrey, and I had a 6-foot sidewalk, and, we didn't have any comfrey growing any closer than 6 feet from that bed. Because the seeds were bouncing right across the concrete. So anyway, it's an amazing plant. So that's what we're going to do with this bed. If you wanted to scrape all this stuff off and use it for compost, that'd be fantastic. If you want to leave it in here so these guys can use it for compost, that's fantastic. Before you recharge this bed with a lot of compost or material, you want to let the guys get up a little bit above the ground, a few inches, and then you're ready to go. So this is Doc Jones and Dr. Lori Jones from the Homegrown Herbalist School of Botanical Medicine. If you enjoyed the content, click that like button. That'll make both of us feel happy inside. Click subscribe and swing by homegrownherbalist.net. We've got a lot of other blog articles and lots of other fun material there. And of course, the Homegrown Herbalist School of Botanical Medicine is there if you ever want to learn really a lot about herbs. We'd love to help you with that. So have a great day and thanks for watching.